Well, first of all, good afternoon, everyone, and hope everyone had a great Family Day weekend. Probably going to get in trouble by my team, but I'm going off topic here for a second. I got so many people wanting to go to shopping malls, and Yorkdale would have been packed, Sherway would have been packed, Mississauga Square 1 would have been packed, and I always say everyone deserves a rest. Right? Take your holidays, but there are a whole bunch of people that want to get that little extra overtime, getting paid double time and a half. They get their regular statutory 8 hours, and then they get another time and a half for anything that they work. So even if someone's making $20 an hour, now you get to go in and make $50 an hour. But that would be up to companies to decide, but that would probably add close to a million working hours that people can pocket. So just throwing that out there. So we'll look into it and find out how realistic it is. I know the Eaton Centre was open, and people in the suburbs are saying, why do I have to go downtown? Why can't I go to Yorkdale? But it would have been packed yesterday. But anyways, it was a great weekend, and we worked, at least I did. I worked on the weekend. There was no family day for myself, just returning calls, listening to people. Right off the hop, I got a lot of calls from students about OSAP, and there were interesting calls. I returned every one with a standard statement, but I wasn't getting hundreds, I was getting thousands. But I get quite a few all the time, and trying to just explain that you know, the situation that Ontario was facing wasn't sustainable any longer. We're putting in, by next year, $7 billion a year into our colleges and universities. I reminded a lot of the students that, you know, I fought for them for 7.5 years, not letting universities and college raise tuition. And I don't think anyone had a problem with that, but I was getting massive pressure from the sector to do that. And finally, we did it, and then OSAP as well. That created a problem when federal government cut off foreign students coming in, so it really hurt a lot of colleges and universities. I support the students, our #1 selling feature when companies come from around the world. I'm always saying we have the brightest and best students, the brightest and best colleges and universities in the world. But when you're in the hole, $2.5 billion, it wasn't realistic. Now we've brought that middle of the pack. We're still giving more OSAP loans than BC and Saskatchewan and Alberta. I think we're equal to Manitoba. So I'm always there to support it. But I mentioned to the students, you have to invest in your future, into in-demand jobs, because a lot of the students, I'm not one to say, you know, like you're picking basket weaving courses and there's not too many baskets being sold out there. Go into healthcare, go into trades, go into jobs of the future. Focus on STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. Those are where the jobs are. And then we're accountable to the taxpayers too. They want to know the courses these students are picking and that the taxpayers are paying, that they're actually going to graduate and move forward in that sector that we need. So I'll always be there to invest in colleges and universities. Again, I think this year or coming year will be up to $7 billion. That's $3 billion more than the previous Liberal government. And so I'll continue supporting and fighting for students, even though they're probably upset right now. But I've heard some nightmare stories on the other side as well, about kids going out there buying fancy watches and cologne and not needing it, and families making 200 grand getting their kids' education. That doesn't fly with the taxpayers. I'll tell you that right now. Focus on jobs, because your #1 area you should focus on once you graduate, you got to get a job. And a lot of times kids will graduate and figure out, oh, well, there's no basket manufacturing. I should have maybe picked something else. focus on jobs of the future, and you will have a job when you come out of college or university. Just had a meeting with the former governor of Missouri. He is head, and I'm going to just read this off. He's the president of American Automotive Policy Council and former governor, and that's Governor Blunt from Missouri. So I built our case, and he wasn't disagreeing that we have to get this USMCA deal done, or CUSMA, get it going. I think the Prime Minister did a great job with Janice Charest. I've never met her, but I've heard glowing comments about her. So she'll lead the team. I'm happy for that, but we have to make sure we get this done as soon as possible, because the uncertainty around the world, it's not good for anyone's economy. So those are a couple items. I'll open it up to any questions.
Are you talking about repealing Family Day holiday? What were you getting?
Oh, no, not repealing, everyone. I love that. The only one good thing the Liberals ever did is bring in Family Day. That's it.
All right, so what were you getting at that?
All I'm getting at is, should be the option number one of the people that work in the retail sector and not be forced, and we would cover them to make sure there's no ramifications. But there's a ton of people out there that want to earn $50 an hour, that are making $20 an hour and getting double time and a half. They want to put a shift in. And I think it would, I know it would add to our GDP, and would give probably upwards to 1 million working hours that people might not otherwise do. There's so many people right now that had to work Family Day, no matter if it's our healthcare workers or our police or firefighters, paramedics, people that work in the Eaton Center, people that work in the small stores. But I'm going to throw it out there, and nothing's guaranteed. I'll talk to the retail council. I'll talk to the big ones, all the food retailers, be it the Walmarts, Loblaw shop, all of them. Home Depots. I wanted to go to Home Depot yesterday. It was closed. Yeah. Well, if I didn't speak up, I'll tell you, we wouldn't have anything. It's $23 million that we were able to get off them. I want to thank Crown Royal, by the way, for sitting down and negotiating. I kept saying, day after day, every time I came out, please help me help you. And they finally came to the table. And, for the people in Amherstburg, where they're getting about roughly $500,000 directly dollars for investment in creating new opportunities for companies to come here, and as well another $500,000 over to Windsor, Essex, that falls into that jurisdiction. And we've mentioned to my Minister of Economic Development, Amherstburg is the highest priority right now, because we have so many inquiries from around the world. Make sure you showcase that great community, showcase the people, and hopefully we're going to be able to fill that empty building. Well, I know that quite a few of them went down to the Stellantis plant. I want to thank Stellantis. They're adding 1,700 jobs, and I know quite a few of them went down there. I think there's still 60, could be wrong, 60 people that haven't found employment. But those are 60 people that need to pay their rent or pay a mortgage or put food on the table. So we're going to support them. And then we have some provincial investments that we're going to announce over the next month or so down there that will create more good paying jobs. So I just want to protect those folks down there that lost their jobs and bring new jobs in.
So of the $23 million, just 4% of it is actually going to be spent in and around Amherstburg. By comparison, company in Scarborough, company in Toronto, and companies in Eastern Ontario get more money. How is that fair to the workers who lost their jobs? Some of them retired because they were.
Yeah, well, they retired, plus there's about 60 people left over that may not have a job right now, but we're going to go and put more investments, be it the $500,000 directly, and then another $500,000 into the Windsor Essex. Plus, we're going to put all forces of economic development to bring in more opportunities for the people. And then on top of that, we have a couple announcements that we're going to make down there that will help more people get employed after those announcements. So I think the ideal situation was to keep Crown Royal there. They made their decision. But again, it goes back to if I didn't fight, that 23 million, they wouldn't get anything at all. And that was my rationale right from the get-go, to see investments here in Ontario as much as we can.
On the new national defense production strategy that Prime Minister Carney announced this morning, have you had a briefing? Do you have any idea how and where in Ontario manufacturers could gain from this?
Yeah, they weren't specifying, again, I've been promoting making sure that we invest here in Ontario, building ships here at the Ontario shipyard. For one example, light armor vehicles at General Dynamics in London, and probably the other 700 defense companies we have here in Ontario to invest. But the key is, we can talk about it, make it happen. They need to make things happen. They need to make sure they send the message of certainty to General Dynamics, along with Ontario shipyards. I'm just picking those two because they're pretty large employers. But we need to make those investments, and I've been advocating for the defense sector, especially the defense bank. That would create 3,500 jobs. There's only one place to put the defense bank. That's here in Toronto. Simple as that.
Strong mayor powers and what municipalities can do when it comes to police budgets. Why aren't they allowed under the strong mayor powers to limit the police spending?
Well, I've seen some cities. I'll give you one example, without naming names. All of a sudden in Toronto, when I was there and my brother Rob was there, the next mayor, all of a sudden there's 400 or 500 jobs, even more, they told me. As a matter of fact, over the weekend they were telling me there were 600 police officers cut. Now, finally, and I want to thank Mayor Olivia Chow, they're finally back to the levels we were in 2010. You can't chop our police budgets. We can't chop safety and protecting communities and putting to some special interest group. We need to make sure our priority is keeping our communities safe, because right now people don't feel safe. They don't feel safe going on the subways. They don't feel safe walking down the street by themselves. They don't feel safe when someone kicks in their door, which I got a phone call from a gentleman this weekend, and the door was kicked in. The guys went in there again, and they terrorized neighborhoods, families. They don't even want to live in their house. A lot of them are saying, I'm moving outside the city now, because it's out of control. And we have to make sure the federal government passes this legislation on bail reform. So, in any poll that I've seen, economy, jobs, number one, up there with healthcare, and I've never seen a crime up number 2 or 3 spot. It's always down by 10. So we have to continue investing in our police, give them the tools they need to get the job done and keep our communities safe.
Conservative MP Jamil Jivani said Canadians are shooting ourselves in the foot with anti-American pissy fits. He was talking about you.
Well, something, I really don't care what he says about me, because I gave him the chance. No one would even know who Jamil Jivani was unless I hired the guy in my office. I didn't know him from a hole in the ground. But in saying that, I am happy that he went down in the U.S. I'm happy when I see other premiers go down to the U.S. and lobby. But no, I don't call it hissy fit. What I call is making sure we communicate with the American people, like I just did half an hour ago with the former governor, and continue advocating to our American friends that as we get closer to this Kuzma deal, that our voice is being heard in the U.S. and make sure that the administration in the U.S. understands it's going to hurt Americans. Tariff on Canada is a tax on the American people. As simple as that. They need to take the Ronald Reagan approach. You can't unscramble an egg. You got to make the omelet larger. My favorite saying, especially in the auto sector.
Do you think he's suggesting, though, that our approach has been wrong in dealing with the Americans? We've been too harsh and it's backfired?
No.
What do you make of that?
I don't know what he's talking about, to be very frank. All I know is everyone has pitched in from day one. But if we roll back the clock a year ago, there was uncertainty. And there still is uncertainty, but just think, the federal government basically collapsed, and Trump had just got sworn in January 5th last year, and he was out swinging at us. So we were all there, of every country in the world, kissing his backside. Oh, we'll do this, we'll do that, we'll do this. Now we know Trump's rules. There are no rules with President Trump. So now we're diversifying trade, and Port of St. John, which ships out goods. We've doubled the exports to Port of St. John, which is going over to Europe and South America and everyone else. And we have to focus on diversifying our trade, not relying on the U.S. economy so much. Still is going to be our #1 trading partner, but we have to start diversifying. No matter if we're bringing in tin cans, like Massili, we made that announcement, or other sectors that we're starting on onshore. And we just can't be so reliant on our American friends, and they are our friends. There's one guy that drives me crazy.
Premier, there were healthcare workers here today.
Pressure from students pulling in telling you you've made the wrong decision.
Well, I understand. You know, I fully understand that some kids need it. There will be still 25% grants available. I had some students, international students, come by my office this morning, and I think one gal from Netherlands was saying, no, they don't get 85% across the board on everything. They were actually probably a little shocked. They're more focused over in the Netherlands on key areas that will help the economy, or be it healthcare or other sectors, jobs of the future. So we're still going to be there. We're still going to put unprecedented amounts of investments into our universities and colleges. And I just wish the students knew how hard I fought for 7.5 years. When I first came into office, I knocked their tuition down 10%. And under massive pressure from the heads of the colleges and universities, I refused to increase their tuition, and added OSAP up to 85% grants. Folks, it was in the red. It's just not sustainable. And the sector was telling me it's not sustainable, or we'd be closing down, if we continue going, we'd be closing down colleges and university. I think it was accepted by the general public because they're paying the bills. And I just emphasize to the students, please look at a course that's going to be a priority when you get out of school, and try to support them any way you can. So that's what I'm focused on right now, and I believe that the students will focus and be more accountable to be able to go out there. If they have investments into their education, and their parents have investments in their education, they're going to focus on it. They aren't going to drop out, or they aren't going to be looking for a different job after going to school for one type of sector and find out that there's no jobs.
Premier, healthcare leaders were here today saying that hallway healthcare has worsened significantly under your government's watch. Had your government given up on ending hallway healthcare?
Well, first of all, what healthcare leaders?
Which healthcare leaders were?
Yeah.
The ONA and the ONQ leaders.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Well, what they should do is maybe look into their facts. There's no one that's invested more into healthcare than we have. We've invested $91 billion. It's staggering. Put that into perspective. When I took office, there was $60 billion in investments, no hospitals being built, no medical schools being built. You look at what we're doing, we're building 50 new sites or additions to hospitals, spending $60 billion. And we're building right now medical schools that haven't been built in decades. We're paying for education for PSWs. We're paying for learn and stay for nurses. So, in fact, if you actually go through as a nurse, and there's 100,000 new nurses that we've registered, 30,000 in school. But if you're willing to learn and move into a rural area or north, then we're going to pay for your education, and their incentives in thousands of dollars if you go up there. And we're paying for all the doctors' educations. We've registered 16,000 doctors. We're pouring money into the healthcare system, unprecedented amounts. I don't suggest anyone's lying. It all depends on what what organization they're coming from. And you mentioned too, well, of course, there's never enough money, they believe. But again, look at the numbers and the investments that we're doing. We're going to continue investing into healthcare in unprecedented amounts into healthcare. But is there ways of delivering healthcare more efficiently, more effectively? 100% there is. And that's not me saying it. That's from leadership within the healthcare sector. That's CEOs within the sector of hospitals. They know that we can do better, and we will do better, but we're going to continue investing massive amounts into the healthcare sector.
The finance minister says the current rate of spending in healthcare is unsustainable. Do you feel like it's unsustainable?
We're going to, yeah, and I understand, because that's every time I see him, he says, do you know how much we're investing in healthcare? Yes, we're going to continue to invest into healthcare, but that weighs on the finance minister. That's his job, to balance the books. And the number one area is healthcare. But as you can see, we're continuing to invest in the healthcare. We'll continue to invest into our healthcare workers, and we're doing everything we can to make sure we have a sustainable healthcare system. And one more. Yeah, I think he does. You know, he's 92 years old. I think it was his birthday, and he's given back to minor hockey for so many years, and helped out in so many charitable organizations. Yes, I believe he does, and I think he has a lot of support in the in the hockey community. Geez, I got healthcare on my mind. But all you have to do is do the test, and he wouldn't do this. Bring Don out to Scotiabank Arena when the Leafs play. The place will go ballistic, right? They'll go wild. He has massive support out there, and I support him. So good for Don. I want to congratulate him, and along with all the other recipients that received the Order of Ontario. It's the highest award you can get from the province, and I think it's vetted deeply with the whole committee. I think there's, I don't know, 10, 12 people that are on that committee from diverse backgrounds, and they put a slate and they bring it forward to us. So good luck to Don. I wish him all the very, very best.
You did want to mention names earlier, but you were clearly a huge John Tory when we were talking about the police. There's a lot of talk that he's going to try to enter the race to elect mayor this year. Is that something you want to see? Is there another candidate you want to see, Michael Porter?
No, I'm not getting involved in this municipal election. All I'm telling you, the reason why, when you asked me the question about police, we can't have people coming in there chopping 500-600 police officers on the front line. We're finally back to 2010 levels. I want to thank Shelley Carroll. She's the chair. Wonderful job. I want to thank the mayor for putting that forward. And I talked to one police officer. Actually, I talked to a few. And they said, I said, is it better now or was it better before? And they said, it's not this much better. It's this much better now. And the support from the police through the board and Shelley Carroll and the mayor. Exact things. Not this much better.
Well, what happens though if the municipality decides to cut the police budget? Will the province step in?
Yeah, they shouldn't be cutting police. Let's look at other areas. Community safety is very, very important. Next to jobs, economy, and healthcare, it's right up there. I've never seen it this high. Crime is out of control. We have to make sure when we catch these criminals that they stay in jail. They aren't released 6, 7, 8 times in bail. They need to be in jail and make our communities a lot safer. But thank you, everyone. Yeah. Well, I'll look into it and find out, but they're going to have transit that they've never had before. We're actually building a tunnel in Brampton as well, extending it there, and then we're going to add the loop around the Mississauga LRT. But I'll find out and I'll be able to get back to you. But now Mississauga and Brampton are going to have transit that they've never had before. We're building the largest transit system in North America. It's really unbelievable how far we've come in about 6 years, 6.5 years. And we're going to continue building and making sure that we have great transit, and it's so important. I told you the story, so I'm driving down again, and it just amazed me. Transit is so important in Ontario, in the GTA, in Toronto. You know, I'm driving down Dixon Road from Airport Road in a bus about 11:30. I look over and it's packed. These are all hard-working, and they look like new Canadians, hard-working people coming from the hotels, coming from the convention center or Congress Center, all working their backs off, taking public transit, probably making 20, 25 bucks an hour. And I thought, man, this is incredible. This is why we need transit. And God bless, we have people like that that are willing to work those hours. And that's the reason I had a couple companies call me, like big companies, over the last few days. I passed it on to the federal government, that they're finding it very difficult to find Canadians to work weekends and midnight shifts. Midnight's 12 till 7 in the morning. But, you know, the new folks that are coming on a visa for 2 years, they're working it. And it's just facts. I'm just telling you what I'm hearing. So we have to continue building the economy, and we need people to come here that want to work and focus on areas that we can't find Canadians to work. So there we go, folks. I want to thank you. Okay.
You were out with the Iranian community this weekend.
Oh, I love them.
I'm wondering if you think Olivia Todd should have been there. She's getting a lot of backlash from
Oh, I'm going to speak for the mayor, but folks, you want to see a peaceful, it's not a protest, it's voicing your opinion and getting it around the world. I was so proud of the Iranian community. Where else can you get, I don't know, I said 200, but now I hear it's over 300, 350,000, probably the largest in the world. These people from that community were handing roses to the police officers, thanking them. They were cleaning up the garbage after. Folks, anyone who wants to voice their opinion, we live in a democratic society, that's fine, but take a page out of the Iranians community's playbook, if that's what I want to say. They're super bright, they give back to the economy, they're law-abiding people. I absolutely love the Persian community, and not just because my staff sergeant's Persian, and he got his little debut, but because I love them. They're beautiful people. We need to bring freedom and democracy to Iran. They could be a thriving country, 90 million people. They have everything going, super bright population. And the dictator, I'll call him the dictator, and the regime are out there killing innocent people. You know, men, women, and children. They're tyrants. And they have to go, and we need a new regime in Iran and give freedom back to the people of Iran. But okay, I gotta go. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Appreciate it. Thank you. I don't know. What do you buy me?